hear that song, you think of only one thing in one place. But there's more to Small World than a catchy song and impossibly happy dolls. There is a rich and deep history behind it. These are those secrets and history of It's a Small World. To know Small World is to start at the beginning, the 1964 World's Fair. Actually, you might want to start just a little bit before that. Let's start in 1963. Disneyland had already been open for about 8 years and was an unqualified success, and because of this, Walt Disney and his team of Imagineers were in high demand. And so it was that Disney was working on 4 exhibits for the World's Fair. The Carousel of Progress for General Electric, the Magic Skyway for Ford, Great Moments with Abraham Lincoln for the state of Illinois, and Circle Vision for Kodak. You'll notice Small World wasn't even on that list, and probably would never have been if it not for the intervention of others. You see, the Pepsi company was having a hard time settling on an exhibit for the show, and they were running out of time, so it was suggested that they ask the Disney company if they had any ideas. But as fate would have it, they didn't ask Walt. They asked another executive in the company, who declined the invitation as they were already overbooked for the event. It was less than a year from opening day of the fair. I suppose Walt didn't like anybody speaking for him, or for the Disney company for that matter, and he reversed the decision, of course. He took on the project and a very short turnaround time. It's rumored that Joan Crawford, yes, that Joan Crawford, had quite a bit of influence with Pepsi and their choosing Disney for their exhibit. She was married to Alfred Steele, who was the chairman of the board of Pepsi and was on the board herself. Disney quickly settled on an attraction based on animatronic technology already in development for Disneyland and the Abraham Lincoln attraction. This is a good point, I think, to note what a shrewd decision it was that Walt made in offering his services for the '64 World's Fair. In doing so, research and development for the future of Disneyland and 4 working attractions that could be shipped back to Disneyland were essentially paid for. The attraction was originally called Children of the World and was designed by a who's who of Disney legends: Sherman Brothers, Raleigh Crump, Mark and Alice Davis, Mary Blair, Blaine Gibson, Claude Coates, and even Walt Disney himself. The design of the attraction was always very close to how we see it today, however the music evolved quite a bit. Initial plans were to have the children sing the national anthems of each country as the ride progressed. But as most Disneyland guests have experienced, the audio isn't always synced just right. You sometimes hear music before or after you should. The result was a mess, lacking any kind of harmony. Disney quickly decided a single song was needed and asked the Sherman Brothers to write it. The theme song as we know it was originally a much slower ballad, but Walt wanted something happier, so the tempo was picked up and sung in counterpoint. The song, of course, was called It's a Small World, and Walt liked the song so much he renamed the attraction after it. And how about that song? Love it or hate it, it's eternal. It is Disney. Moving on, Raleigh Crump was tagged with designing a sculpture to help dress the otherwise very drab pavilion. The Tower of the Four Winds sculpture is a kinetic wonder that he described as representing the boundless energy of youth. The interiors were a collaboration of Alice Davis, Mark Davis, and Blaine Gibson. Mark Davis designed the set pieces, Blaine Gibson designed the dolls, and Alice Davis dressed the scenes and the dolls. And the now legendary art design of the attraction was provided by Mary Blair. Now, while many people were involved in designing and constructing Small World, some will say that in the end, it's a Mary Blair ride. Her distinctive style mixes bold primary colors that are often in total contrast to one another. Likewise, Blair has a visual style that includes designs that resemble collages, and where their proportions are irregular or even unsteady looking. And it was Walt's choice to have all the faces of the children identical. This was done to promote unity rather than highlight any differences between them. The attraction was a huge hit. Over the course of 4 seasons in 2 years, or a total run of about a year, Small World attracted 10 million guests. That's roughly 27,000 guests per day. But there was hardly ever a line due to the innovative means of moving passengers through the attraction. It was the eventual inspiration for Pirates of the Caribbean, which was originally intended to be a walk-through attraction. It's believed that the gift shop guests found at the end of the ride at the World's Fair was the first exit through the gift shop ever used. It is now pretty common for most attractions throughout the world. Small World was shipped back to Anaheim for installation at Disneyland in 1965 in an area previously used as a Fantasyland train stop for the Disneyland Railroad. The attraction is so vintage that there are still shipping stickers from 1965 on the back of some of the set pieces. A new facade was designed for the Anaheim attraction by Raleigh Crump, though it's pretty obvious from its appearance that he drew a lot of inspiration from Mary Blair. The clock and March of Dolls on the quarter hour that everybody watches, that was actually Walt's idea. Small World is also known for its topiaries. These shrubs are cut and grown to resemble various animals. They go through about 5 years of preparation and growth before they're ready for the main stage out front. So that's a bush. They have even the bushes go through training at Disneyland. It's rumored that the gold turrets are actually plated with 24-karat gold leaf. This was done to avoid the constant need for repainting due to wear and tear over the years. On May 28, 1966, a grand ceremony in front of the ride was held to honor the opening of It's a Small World. 36 foreign officials were on hand and more than 800 members of the press. Operation Water, a Jack Lundquist initiative, had Walt join 16 children from around the world to pour samples of water from their respective countries into the Small World River. In total, 17 nations or geographic areas are represented. They include the US, England, France, Italy, Switzerland, Scandinavia, Canada, Thailand, India, Korea, China, Japan, Africa, Brazil, Mexico, and the South Seas. Naturally, each nation is represented in culturally specific clothes and settings, and while space is limited and it looks like they've crammed a lot of things together, the result goes towards promoting the One World theme. It's said that there is a moon and a sun in every room. Oh, and this doll right here was added as a tribute to Mary Blair. Fast forward to 1997 when Small World was given the first of its now famous holiday overlays. Christmas-themed lighting is strung all over the attraction facade, giving it a beautiful glow during the holiday season. Inside, the traditional Small World theme song is replaced with jingle bells and Deck the Halls. And there's also various holiday symbols added around, like candy canes, Santas, reindeer, snowmen, snow. And this Santa that's checking his list that I always thought looked like Santa playing a saxophone. And the glockenspiel gets a festive Santa hat. In 2008, Small World went through a major refurb that included one very controversial change. In this refurb, the boarding was reversed. Guests used to enter down the middle and exit to the left or the right. Now they enter on the left or the right and exit down the middle. This was done to better accommodate wheelchair access so that stairs could be avoided. Permanent fixtures were installed to make the holiday overlay a lot easier to install every year. The water flume and boats were replaced. But of course the real drama was with the addition of the now infamous 37 Disney characters, along with the replacement of the New Guinea room with a room featuring US themes. In other words, Woody and Jessie. Where once only indistinct children of the world were represented, now you can find Mulan, Aladdin, Cinderella, and many others. They did try to at least place the new characters in their appropriate countries, but it's kind of a loosely used definition, as you can find Ariel, Flounder, Dory, and Nemo all in the same room. So at least one of those guys is lost, and probably not just Nemo. But I guess for the most part they fit. England has Alice and the White Rabbit. Italy has Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket. And China has Mulan and Mushu. And that brings Small World and this story to the present. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, fresh baked!
It's a